Sham Masechta Maises, Daf Yutes Omed Aleph, the Nishmat Gitta Basavam Ben Chaim Ben Yitzchak Dorge, Chaim Ben Avraham Yitzchak. So Min Bas Yerushalmי. The by side is on Yud Ches Omed Beis. You have the art scroll Yud Ches Omed Beis, the Ridbaz. The second half of the Ridbaz starts with Lomeli Amenas. He's referring back to the Mishnah. In the Mishnah it says that if a poil who works for you, you have to give him to eat. And if you give him to eat, those payers that you give him to eat, does that have a dinner of a mekach or not? And if it's a mekach, it's kavei l'maisa. It's kavei l'maisa, you're not allowed to eat it out. So the Mishnah says on Yud Ches Amud Aleph, in the middle of the Amud, Amnashe oichel b'shasek tzia lachak tzia. The poil said, "I'm working for you, and because I'm working for you, you're going to give me teeth." Now he doesn't have to say Amanas, because the Torah says that a worker who works for you, you have to give him teeth. It's a mitzvah say deraisa. So why does he have to say the words Amanas for? That's the question that we saw in the Gemara in Yud Ches Amud Beis. Lomeli Amanas, afilu shalei Amanas. He doesn't have to use the words Amanas. Even if he said Amanas, I would think, this is how we learn Shabbat, we learn the Gemara. I would think maybe he added something to it by saying, "You're going to pay me," meaning now the food is going to come on. Whatever you're going to give me to eat, it's not yours. I'm not eating from yours. I'm eating from my own, because Amanas adds a dimension which the Torah didn't do. The Torah says the poil can eat from the Balabayit. When it says Amanas, that means it's a greater thing. Now the poil actually owns what he eats. I like Megillah Pshat in the Gemara. That's because the Gemara is struggling here to understand the Mishnah. Why do you have to say Amanas? Even without the Amanas, he's allowed to eat it. And if he's allowed to eat it, it should be a Mekach. So the Gemara is saying that afilu shlei Amanas. What's the Pshat? Why you need Amanas? That's how we learn Pshat in the Mishnah. Now, I see here the Baz, take a look here in the Baz. It's very fascinating how the Baz is learning Pshat in the Mishnah. Pirush. The Makshe al Hodik Tony Masnis Amnas Sho'oichel. Why does the Mishnah have to say it? Lomeli Amanas. What do you have to say Amanas for? Umishani. And for the Gemara, the Kamash Malon Rabusa. The Mishnah is telling us, Zok the Gemara Achidish. Afilu Omele Amanas. What would I think? What do you need Amanas? Because I would think the Mochel Achoiv. Both sides. It's Yud Ches Amud Beis. Take a look at the Baz. Yud Ches Amud Beis on the side of the article Gemara. Why does he need Amanas? So the Gemara is saying because you need Amanas. If you say Amanas, I would think that you moichel the Choiv, which is that the Balabayis has to give the poil to eat. Sheyesh loy min haTorah v'oichel rak mikoyach haktzitza. If he says the word Amanas, that means the Torah digadin that the Torah says you have to give a poil that works for you. You have to give him to eat. He was moichel that, and he's saying now I only want you to pay me because I use the words Amanas. I'm making a private deal with you. That is how the Baz understands the Mishnah, and he's explaining the Gemara. Afilu shleim kamash malon dezeh einoi. You can't do that. Tell the Balabayis, you know what? I'm not eating because of the Torah Dikadin. I'm eating because of the din that we made between ourselves. We made a deal that you have to give me tea because I'm working for you. That tonight, this night that he makes the condition, you don't have to pay me because of the din Torah. You only have to pay me because we made a monetary condition in the terms of our employment agreement. If he says the word Amanas, and he means with that to say that with the Amanas you have to pay me because of our employment agreement, and not because of the pasuk in the Torah, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Meaning, because if he has to give him to eat because of the employment agreement, that's a mekach. But if you have to eat because the Torah says you have to give it to me, that's nishka mekach. The Torah is not talking about mekach. The Torah is talking about itzurim. So this shmuz that we had, understanding the Gemara, you can see that Baz is struggling exactly with the same concept. The Baz is learning Pshat. Also, it's not in the Yerushalmi. I mean, He's learning that's what the Yishami means, but the words are not in the Yishami explicitly. But the way the Baz is saying, he's saying that this is what the Yishami means, that he is with Amanas getting away from the Din Torah, and he says, I'm moicha you the Din Torah, and now you have to pay me because of the Din that the condition that we made in our employment agreement between each other, and that makes it a mekach, and therefore you're not permitted to eat the payers out of it because that's a real mekach. Employment agreement is a mekach. If the Torah tells you that you have to give me to eat, that's nishka mekach, that's medin isurim, that's isurim, that's nishka mekach. And those two, he doesn't say that. I don't know if he's masking to how we understood the Gemara, that if you have to eat min Torah, those payers belong to the Balabayas. It's only he has to give you his payers, but the payers that belong to the Balabayas. If you're eating because of the employment agreement, then it's your payers. So I just wanted to point out, yeah. It doesn't say. He doesn't say. I mean, he doesn't say what you can't do it. He has a chiyuv min Torah. Well, yeah, I know Masha goes to Torah. Can't say, but it's not clear. But Akaponim, he's saying those bleibt and issa. You can't be matal and issa. I can't matal issa. I'm not saying by ribbis, right? The guy makes a chayv, says I'm not saying by ribbis. You can't do it. So that's the Gemara Malkus. You can't make a avo and say I'm shloite shmitanu shviyas, right? You can't do that. But this is the chayv how he learned pshat in the Gemara. Is that the reason why it's kaveh l'maisa because he made a deny with him as employment. That's why it's a kaveh as Mecca. And Yenadin, he says that I'm mevatel that din. So look at mekanis nishtin. So bleibt es was bleibt nicht kein Mekach, and it bleibt here medin Torah. And it's medin Torah. That's not a Mekach. So maybe you're allowed to eat the pears. All right, because there was no Mekach. That's the main zach. I wanted to show you. Rabbi Isaac. There's one more thing. Two more things actually. This is the question we also touched on it. Hashem Yoyena, if I'm Mamish the Chinuch, asked this question. In Tuf Kuf Ayin Zayin, in the Chinuch, in the Sefer Chinuch, you're not permitted to take, when you're working in the fields and you're working for Balabayas, you're not permitted to do it with a kli, you have to take it with your hands. Why? Because this belongs to the Balabayas. So you can't take more than what the Torah allowed you to eat. And if you take more, because we take it with a kli, with a magel, you're going to take more than you need for your own food, you need to eat personally. And the Torah says you're not allowed to do that. Over here, what do you mean? You can't. The Torah was matter you to eat from the Balabayas. So that's Medin Torah. The Torah is matter you to eat it. But it's not yours. It belongs to the Balabayas. Frag the Chinuch, im tishel. Why did the Torah have to tell me another lav? Tell me that what? In Tufkuf Ayin Vav state mitzvah. One second, let's go slowly here. Because mitzvah leinu laniach hasochel echel bizman shirosim midvarim yedum. The mitzvah Tufkuf Ayin Vav is to allow the poil to eat from the Balabayas. Torah gave you a had to eat from the Balabayas. The guy works for somebody, he's allowed to eat from the Balabayas. Tuf Kuf Ayin Zayin tells me, okay, you're allowed to eat, but you have to do it only what you need for your own personal lunch money, supper money, whatever it is, you're allowed to eat. But to go take it and start cutting it with a sickle and taking more, then you're not allowed to do it. So fake the chinuch, what does the Torah have to tell me that? You're only allowed to eat for what you could eat. More, if you take more, that's gezel. So what's up noch a lab of them? In Tisha lo mahoy tzarich lav al zeh v'aloi b'chlal gezel hu. That's gezel. Zok the chinuch emoy the gezach. He said the tshuva. He says because a poil who works by somebody else, right? So he's there. He goes in. He goes out. He does whatever has to be done. So shederah b'nei odlam shlo nahakbid b'dover kol kach k'moy she'em makpidim ma sheyesh lehem torach habayis. A person goes into somebody else's house, knows you can't take anything. It's not yours. You can't touch somebody else's things. But if you're the Balabayas, you're the poil, and you're working in somebody else's house, and you're making all the food for him, you would think, or you're making all the preparations in the fields, by cutting everything, the person could think, listen, I could take to eat, it's mine. I'm working here. I could take what I want for eating. I could take. That's why it's he thinks that the Balabayas, he's not going to be makbid if I'm going to take some lunch money for myself. I take over there an apple. I'm cutting all the apples. I take one apple. I eat it for lunch. Why should it be a problem? So he makes a cheshbon. I can eat it for myself. So the poil would not consider to be gezel. Kamash Malon, the Torah tells you a lav. What's the lav? Don't take it in a way where you're taking more than what the Torah allowed. Torah you allowed you to eat what you need to eat. But more than that, you want to take another one for your child, and you want to take one for home for your wife. Those tomish, those like gezel. So the fikach, michazde abarach lahabas olav azoris b'mash akil yomotzi, things that are motzi, that a person will make a mistake. So rotza amokim l'zakis yisrael fikach hirbelhem Torah mitzvahs. That's why the Torah was ma'abed Torah mitzvahs, to tell you this is something which is easy to make a mistake, and you'll think you'll be made a heter. Kamash alon, there's a special lav on this that there's no heter over here. Now, it's very interesting here in the notes in the Minchas Chinuch, the notes for this Mechon. They printed this. He brings over here Bein Bechaya. HaTorah is mamish negayah to this week's Pasha Kiseitzei. Why did Torah matter the fast Torah? Zokter Azoy. HaTorah lo yitira ele keneged hanefesh ha'mesaber ki kivin shu mesasik b'Torah b'peiroisav im lo yehoye efshel lechel beheter yechel b'isa. The Ben Bechai is saying over here, like the same thing about your fast Torah. He says the Torah is not going to do it be'eter, he's going to do it b'isa. So this person, if you don't allow him to eat, look to the Ben Bechai, he's going to eat anyway. Well, he's not going to eat, he's starving, and he's working in the field, so he's going to be moida heter, and he's going to eat. He's going the other way around. He's saying, the Chinuch is saying, the Torah made a lav out of it, the Torah don't be moida heter. He's saying the whole reason why the Torah was matted that the poil, the worker in the field, does a lot of eats from the field for whatever he needs to eat for that day, is because the Torah knows if you're not going to be matted, he's going to do it anyway. So this is mamish din of Yifas Torah. As I look to do the Bein Bechaya. But there's one more thing I just wanted to point out. If I get back to the Yerushalmi, he says, the Minchas Chinuch says, that you over on the lab of Gezel. The chol b'derech shelo yitiru lo yitoiru hu Gezel gomer. In other words, at the end of the day here, the Chinuch is asking the question, why do you need to lav a kelyich lo yisitein? It's Gezel. Why do you have to tell me a kelyich? I know you're not going to put things in your pocket that don't belong to you. Why does the Torah have to tell me this for? So now at the end he says the reason why, because the Torah wants to tell you those is Gezel. At the end, what happens if the poil takes more than the Torah allowed him to? He took an extra apple, more than his lunch. Is that over and it's a gezel or not? Look to do the chol b'derech shelo yitiru lo Torah hu gezel gomer. So it is gezel. The Torah is telling you here, this you're allowed to do, but that not more than what the Torah allows. Ach harambam lekosav b'chutz l'lav zeh over lo yisigzel. The Rambam doesn't say that there's lo yisigzel on this lav. In other words, you could say it's a lav v'nitn tashumim. There's no malchus, but big machlokes we're showing him here. If the poil is over on the lav, b'kelyich lo yisitin, is he over on gezel or not? Ube'emes, like the Minchas Chinuch, dov zeh tzarich in the moiva allow gezel gam kein. Ayim mashkos the toisa bebeya. Like the efshe kan nami the gabo poil tira toya gezel beferish. This is the question. You see, the Rambam doesn't bring this lav, so he says, well, kelyich lo yisitin, but the Torah was mata yud achila. What does that mean? The Torah is matter to eat as much as the Torah is matter, but that doesn't mean there's no way to gezel here. He says, according to the Rambam, when it says the poil is allowed to eat, there's no more yisrael gezel here, b'chlal, in this din from the poil. So if he puts it into his kalim, in other words, he takes it home, he doesn't eat it, that's the question. Are you allowed to take it home or not? Maybe the Torah is only matter you. This is what we spoke about last week. The Torah was matter the poil to eat, but if he wants to eat, if he doesn't want to eat, he wants to take it home and give it to his wife, the lunch money, he's going to fast today. So what does he do with the money that he's allowed, the food that he's allowed to eat? He'll give it to somebody else. So that's the machlokes mamish what he's saying. That's the mamish machlokes the Rambam with the Chinuch. According to the Chinuch, this is a gezel. So he's only allowed to do what the Torah said. You want to eat? Now that the payers, you can eat the payers. But there's no heter for you to take it home. If you take it home, you're not eating it. It doesn't belong. It belongs to the balabais. He's allowing you to eat. That doesn't mean you can take it home. Ma'ashen can't go into the Rambam. The Rambam says that there is no lo sigzel here, meaning that you can take it home. Why is there no sigzel? Because the Torah says over here it belongs to the poil. this food that the Torah was matim belongs to the poil. If it belongs to the poil, and he decides today he's going to fast, and he'll take this home and give it away to somebody else, or he's going to want to sell it, whatever he wants to do with it, there's no b'chal, no isegezel. Favos was a blank and poil. So this child that we spoke about the other week, is it a din that this belongs to the poil, and the Torah was matter this, meaning that they give it to the poil, it belongs to him or not? That's a machlokes the Rambam with the chinuch. With the way the Minchas chinuch learns over here, this is in the mitzvah Tuf Kuf Ayin Zayin Sif Cotton Beis in the Minchas chinuch here. See, Mamish, this is totally Zeh B'Zeh in the Shayla. The Gemara in Bab Mitzia is also important. Everybody said to look up this Gemara in Pei Tesam and Aleph, because the Gemara here is Medama, like Sachsim Shoy B'Dishoy, and the din of a poil, the poil is allowed to eat. So the Gemara is learning out like B'Dishoy, the word B'Dishoy, which is written in the Torah by the Laf Chasima, by a poil, and we learn out from there is Ma Daishu Oisa Biyoda B'Ragla B'Gufoy, called up, this is the Gemara Yud Chesam and Beis. You learn out from like Sachsim Shoy B'Dishoy to the dinim of the poil. So we asked, I mean, where's the Gemara? It's not a hekesh, it's not a Shav, Vitas, the Gemara Gevis. So the Gemara discusses this in Mamish, in the Bible. He talks about it. In Peites, you learn out Loisidosh Bechasima Shah the Koser Achman Olam the Kushe Choisem the Nechsam. Nechsam is the Shah, Choisem is the Odom, the Poil. So you makish the Choisem to Nechsam, the Poil to the Shah. The Nechsam the Choisem, back and forth. Ma Choisem Oichel b'Mechuba, Af Nechsam Oichel b'Mechuba, Ma Nechsam Oichel b'Tolish, Af Choisem b'Tolish. So the Gemara makes away this hekish. My Daish Miyuchad uses this hekish. It's not something new in the Yisham. Okay, so let me again a bit yes, learn a bit of Gemara. Look the Gemara. You test them out. Go help me. In the middle of the Yomit, Ksiv Kisava becomes Riyacha. Somebody's coming becomes Riyacha, and he's allowed to take the payers. Yochel b'shakal adam akasa medaber. Maybe he's talking about everybody. Tamiloim v'chermas in a kli. That's a kli. Loisonef alkomas riyecha. Esh yesh l'rishus lohonef. We're talking about a poil. So isi ben yud ben akavyoyim k'shakal adam akasa medaber. So this is a little bit of a chazor. Ma tamiloim v'chermas loisonef mikan shein lo rishus le'echol el b'shas anofus magel. He only has the rishus to eat b'shas when he's working. So you see that the Torah was matter here to take from somebody else's food. It belongs to somebody else, belongs to the Baal Bayis. Why? Because the Torah wants the person to be able to work. And working is bigger than the lav. Not working is a bigger problem than being oivan nisif and gezel. That's what the Gemara says here, because you see that Gedoyle b'tayich ken gedoyle malacha. So the Gemara shleicharev avdar amabel b'nei gezel. Gezel was chomes, and hinen nishchosim molor is chomes like the Torah in Parashas Noach. And because of the chomes, they should destroy the world with the mabel. Nonetheless, upoil oisib b'malachta v'oichel upotim in a gezel. The upoil is working in the field. Upotim in a gezel. He's not chayim in a gezel. This is mamish like the Rambam. The Rambam is saying here, the way the Minchas chinuch brings the Rambam, he's saying the Rambam doesn't talk about gezel. There's no lav over here of gezel. In other words, if he puts it in the Torah tells you the poil you can eat, but don't take it home. You can't go and sell it if you don't want to eat it. Put them in a gezel. Why does he put them in a gezel? If he's over on the Torah, he puts it in his keli. Is he chayav as gezel? Zok the Rambam name. The way the Minchas chinuch learns it, that's mamish the Yishami. He put them in a gezel. Why? Because when the Torah gave the poil the heter to eat, what they did was they said this no longer belongs to the Baal Bayis. This blank gets some poil, and as the poil will team in them at the sandish. He wants to take it home. He wants to do with this. He wants to do with that. He's over on the lav from kelich loisitin. But gezel nishto upotim in a gezel. Why is there no gezel? Torah says this now belongs to the poil, and if it belongs to the poil, he can take it home and do whatever he wants with him. If he doesn't want to eat himself, he gives it to somebody else. That's the upotim in a gezel. Masha Enken, the way the chinuch learns, the chinuch is learning in Chayra, there is gezel here. How the chinuch is going to deal with the Yishami, can't say it doesn't pass like the Yishami. But the Rambam Chayra is mamish learning like this Gemara, these three words, of poitim and a gezel. Okay, Siv in the Gemara state like Sachsim Shor B'Dishay, Ein li Elishor B'Tolish, Odem B'Mechuba. Like Sachsim Shor B'Dishay means what? When you plow the field, don't cover the mouth of the shore. B'dishoy, that's tolish. That's not mechuba karka. V'odam b'mechuba, and a person is allowed to eat. Ki sava yishet in the pasuk. You see it on the side here. Ki sava b'komas reyecha b'katafta melilas b'yidecha. When you're dealing with the koma b'reyecha, which is the davar mechuba karka, then the Torah says you're doing a malacha b'mechuba karka. That's when you're permitted to eat from the pears. That's only b'mechuba, but not if you're working in tolish. That's how the world learns here. Ainly in the first instance, where the Torah said shor is mutter, and it's also to close the mouth of the shor b'tolish when he works in the dishoy. And a person is allowed to work when he's doing the work in the mechuba l'karka. What about if a worker is working in a bakery and it's a davar tolish? Just like you see that the Bashar, even though the Torah talks about the Shach and Shor B'dishay, is talking by Tolish, but we know that he's not permitted to cover the mouth of the Shor, even when he's working in a Mechuba, the Karka, Hey, Yoichel B'Tolish, Adam Shu Yoichel B'Mechuba, a person who's allowed to eat B'Mechuba, ain't a din Shu Yoichel B'Tolish. It's about when he works in a Tolish, when he's working in the bakery, it's about you have to give the poil the ability to eat from the Tolish also, Amid based. When is there a lav? The lav of leisachim shor b'disha is shor b'leisachsim, but there's no lav in an odom. If you're not going to let the poil weak, you're not over on the lav of leisachim. It's only by a shor. Shor ma'ashi yoichel b'mechuba. What's going to be the din by a shor? Because the Torah is matter. The Torah says the shor is permitted to eat what from metolish b'disha. What's going to be by mechuba? Wow, I'm going to allow the shor to eat from mechuba. Like they say, ma adam shein oichel b'tolish. Even though an adam which is not permitted to eat from when he works at a bakery, ain't oichel b'tolish. Oichel b'mechuba. But mechuba is lari because the Torah is only mated by mechuba. As I held yesterday, Yerushalmi is mated an adam to eat only when he's working b'mechuba. Belilas komas yidecha. Shoshu oichel b'tolish. About the geviz like the Ashor, which is eating betolish, bedisha is tolish, and it in she yoichel b'mechuba, oy ma kam b'loy sachsim, afkam b'loy sachsim. Maybe it is takanala the shor permitted to eat even by mechuba, but maybe there's a lav also for leisachsim shor bedisha even when it's a mechuba. Tamad loyme the shachsim shor bedisha and atachoismai. That's by tolish. Abachoismei ad b'mechuba l'karka. When it's a mechuba l'karka, he's working the shor mechuba l'karka, and then there's no lav of loy sachsim. Let's go back to Amid Al and see the Pnei Moshe here. Zok the Pnei Moshe. Three lines, 4 lines, 5 lines from the bottom. Poil. Zeh siyam l'masham ha'gedol l'malacha. Kloima. This is going on the memory of Shimei Yechoy. She'at roya the imkol zeh hitira atoyr l'poil lechel upotem in agazim. Neishu oiseh b'melachte. Why is he potem in agazim? Because the Pnei Moshe is masbid the Gemara. There's potem in agazim. Mamish like the Rambam. Once the Torah is mater a poil to eat, there's no more gazel. Where'd the gazel go? The Torah says there's no gazel here. In Cain, kama gedol the malacha. So the malacha is a very big thing. That the malacha is something which is the Torah is mater the malacha of a poil. Even though Chomas is a gefel chazach, and the Torah, the Eibusha destroyed the world because of Chomas, but Malacha is more important. And the Torah is matter the Gezel, which the Gezel, because of the Issa of Gezel, the world was destroyed, but because the person has to work, which is more important than worrying about the Gezel, the Torah is matter the Gezel, because the Malacha is a gefel chazach. A bit of Malacha is a gefel chazach. Ksiv leisachshim shor b'dishay, zeh dover tolish, v'odem mitzinu kosev behedya b'mechuba, so by Odom the Torah is mated by Mechuba. By Shor the Torah is mated by a Tolish. Mainly the Shor b'Tolish, Odom Mechuba the Hoki Ksiv the Shet Pasuk. Now afraid the Gemara Odom Ma'ashi Yoichel b'Tolish Kloime v'Kal v'Choime. We can make a Kal v'Choime that an Odom should be allowed to eat even by Tolish. Ma'am Shor she'eino Yoichel b'Mechuba Kloime Loimid Sinu Kosev behedya. The oichel b'mechuba. We don't find a beferish Torah that Torah is matter the shor when he works that you're allowed to eat by mechuba. The shor shor b'disha. Disha is a tolish. Harei oichel b'tolish. Nonetheless, the shor is allowed to eat even by tolish. Amid based. B'nei Moshe, on the right side. Tamad lo yisachshon shor b'disha. Kloima. Ma tamad lo yishor dafke. But what's it to tell you daf redden du b'di shor? Why dafke shor? Harei Odom gam ken oichel hu b'tolish. Mikal v'choyim. And Odom is allowed to eat just mikal v'choyim, just like a shor. So why do you have to say like yisachshon shor b'disha? Let's shachshon b'disha. A person or a behemoth should be the same. Elamed shor oiver hu olo b'lei sachsim. On a shore, if you close the mouth, you're over on the din of chesima. But if you don't allow a person to eat when he works in the food for the food business, you're not over on the lap. So maybe a shore is allowed or not allowed to eat when he's not working b'disha, he's doing a mechuba lekaka. The Torah Kisov becomes a Yecha. When we talk about a poil, he's working in the field. That's not talking betolish. Only talking b'chuva. How do I know that a person is allowed to eat when he works in the bakery in the tolish? Mikal b'chaymu. The nafkalon. Sure. The mitzina behedya shoychel betolish. Ain't a din if a behemoth is allowed to eat betolish. Avada is an odom is allowed to eat betolish. You tell me the shor b'disha is mutter. That's a Torah posik. So avada an odom who's working betolish, he should also be allowed to eat. So then it's like the Mabazoi, go all the way. And if you tell me that the person is allowed to eat in a tolish, what happens if you don't let him eat? Are you over on the lav? If the shor is allowed to eat, Saiba tolish and Saiba mechuba is allowed to eat. So why is the pasuk talking about dafka b'disha? Why is it talking madgish over b'disha? You tell me it's both the same. You have to let the shor eat, but the nafka chaps on the lav. When is there a lav? Only betolish, b'disha. But if it's mechuba, you have to let the shor eat about lav and ishto. Mikan omri, the hoilu poils. So now the Gemara is going to learn out from this shor that the lav of leisachsim is only betolish, even though it's allowed to eat by mechuba as well. The poil oichel minatoira, the rice of a poil, yochu litzes ulahasnes in balabayis. Now he's going back to what we started with the bas. He's saying that the poil can make a geschäft with the balabayis. He makes it tonight in his work. Little domen. So you know what? I need the money more than the food. So you give me instead of the food, give me money. Little domen. He doesn't want to have the food. He wants to have the money. And he's not going to eat. So that's the Gemara Vayta. We'll see this. We'll see it later next week on this Gemara. Okay, Rabbi says, so just want to show you. I have here. It's called Leket Shoshanim. Leket Shoshanim is they gave out in the Shiva South Wilsburg. They gave out a little kultus of what the Rebbe the Shiva. He spoke on he speaks Shalshud this time, Divrei Musa. So it's very, very interesting what he brings here. So I just want to bring you one thing is Negei Mamish to something we spoke about the other day. I said over from the Mashgiach Rabdon, he said that the Achana to the mitzvah is more than the mitzvah, bigger than the mitzvah. And he said it over in the name of Chassam Sofer, and I asked him later, I said, where's the Chassam Sofer? He tells me he doesn't know, but somebody told him, even though the Chassam Sofer, even though the Chassam Sofer Gebet, that's famous, he said, look, the Beitach Einsach, look, for the Tamidim. Mein Teure, dein Teure Manumen, look, the Zossen Shibbezug. Mein Teure, I know, can't stay Bezug. So my Teure, you can say in your name, but don't. So Don told me that he doesn't know, but he told me a raya to the din of, to this halacha, Bezug, as the remember that Achona from the mitzvah is gesed with the mitzvah. He brought a raya from the Bnei Bachya. The Bnei Bachya says because the Achona is what you do. So automatically, whatever you want to do, the Eibush is going to help you. So the Achona is really what you're doing. The rest, the Eibush is helping you. I like the Mashiach Kazak. See, he says over here, he brings this also, the Rebbe Yeber, and he says, Isi b'medrash, b'yoyim ha'shlishi, v'yisa ha'rames einov, yiksiv Chayeni miyamayim, b'yoyim ha'shlishi, yikimeni. The 3 days that he was going to the Akedah, so those was achona. The mitzvah was the Akedah. The days that he was walking to the Akedah, this is going achona to the Zach. Yecheni miyamayim zok the medrash, yimei halicha l'Akedah hu zeh shonim mispasim mischorim. That he went to the Akedah, that